Imagine visiting your favorite grocery store next month only to discover that some of your essential items are missing. Sounds impossible, right? Well, think again. In today's video, we're revealing 6 essential grocery staples that could disappear from shelves as early as September. These common products, from shortages caused by unexpected weather events to rising global demand, may become harder to find. And trust me, some of them might surprise you. Why is this happening? And more importantly, what can you do to prepare before these items vanish? Stick around till the end, because we're diving into the facts behind these disappearing staples, plus a few tips on how to stock up or find alternatives before it's too late. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon to stay informed about all our future updates if you're prepared to stay ahead of the curve and never miss out. 1. Cooking oils. Before we talk about the bigger items disappearing, let's dive into one you might not expect: cooking oils. Whether it's canola, sunflower, or soybean oil, these pantry staples are more important than ever. But what's causing them to vanish from shelves? One of the main reasons is the increasing push for renewable energy. We are now using vegetable oils to produce biodiesel, a greener alternative to traditional fuels. While it's a win for the environment, this shift is reducing the amount of oil available for food production. And it's not just that. Poor weather conditions in key producing countries have also led to lower crop yields. But that's not the end of the story. The competition between the food and fuel industries is only heating up. And with low inventory levels already, it's looking like cooking oils will be harder to find in September. 2. Coffee. Before we dive into other staples, let's talk about something many of us can't start the day without: coffee. You may have noticed prices creeping up, but the real issue is what's happening behind the scenes. Coffee, especially your favorite varieties, might soon be harder to find. So, what's causing the shortage? It's a mix of things. First, climate change is taking a toll on coffee plantations. Unpredictable weather, from prolonged droughts to intense rainfall, is hurting coffee crops in major producing countries like Brazil and Colombia. But that's just the beginning. Adding to the problem are ongoing labor strikes in Colombia, one of the world's largest coffee exporters. These strikes are disrupting the supply chain, delaying shipments, and making it harder for producers to keep up with global demand. And if that wasn't enough, rising shipping costs are pushing prices even higher, squeezing both suppliers and consumers. What does this mean for you? Well, as we move deeper into September, you might start noticing fewer options on store shelves, especially when it comes to premium coffee blends. 3. Rice. Before we move on to the next item, let's talk about rice, one of the most widely consumed staples in the world. It's easy to overlook rice since it always seems to be available, but this September could tell a different story. The issue begins with India, the world's largest exporter of rice. In response to climate-related struggles, including droughts and excessive heat, India recently imposed export restrictions on certain types of rice. This move sent shockwaves through the global market, as many countries heavily rely on Indian rice to meet their demands. The tightening of these restrictions is leading to a decrease in supplies and an anticipated rise in prices. On top of that, the recurring El Niño weather pattern is causing a decline in rice yields across Asia. With key growing regions facing prolonged dry spells, production is falling behind, pushing rice prices to their highest levels in over a decade. This means that, starting in September, you might find rice not only more expensive, but also less available in your local grocery store. As rice is a key part of diets worldwide, its shortage could have a domino effect, leading to higher prices for other grains and related products too. 4. Peanut butter. Next up, let's look at a pantry favorite, peanut butter. It's something many of us reach for daily, But what if it started disappearing from shelves in the coming weeks? The shortage of peanut butter stems from rising costs in peanut farming. The agricultural inputs necessary for peanut crops, like fertilizers and pesticides, have seen a significant price increase this year. Both peanut farmers and manufacturers are passing on these escalating costs, squeezing production and resulting in higher prices for consumers. But that's not all. Peanut harvests are also impacted by extreme weather conditions. Climate shifts, including droughts in key peanut growing regions, have made it harder to meet global demand. As a result, manufacturers are struggling to keep up, and this could mean you'll start seeing fewer jars of peanut butter on store shelves as September unfolds. The impacts aren't just limited to peanut butter, though. Products containing peanuts, such as snacks and protein bars, may also face the impact. So, if peanut butter is a staple in your home, now might be the time to stock up before the shortage hits full force. 5. Spices. Now, let's talk about something that often flies under the radar: spices. These small kitchen essentials add flavor to our meals, but what happens when they're suddenly in short supply? Logistical bottlenecks and trade restrictions in key spice exporting countries like India and Vietnam largely drive the spice shortage. These countries produce a significant portion of the world's most popular spices, like black pepper, cinnamon, and nutmeg. But recent policy changes have slowed exports, limiting global availability. In addition, climate conditions are taking their toll on spice production. Regions that rely on predictable weather patterns for successful harvests are struggling due to unexpected droughts and floods. This has caused crop yields to plummet, leaving fewer spices for both domestic use and international export. As September progresses, we expect the shortage to become more noticeable, with some of the more exotic spices disappearing from shelves first. Even common spices could see price hikes due to reduced supply. If you rely on spices for your daily cooking, this is another area where stocking up early might be a smart move. Let's move to our next item. 6. Bottled water. Before we wrap up, let's discuss an essential item that might not seem like it could ever disappear: bottled water. This basic necessity is also at risk of becoming scarce in the coming months, as surprising as it sounds. Surging demand is the primary driver behind the bottled water shortage. In recent years, concerns over water quality, along with increased emergency preparedness due to natural disasters, have pushed consumers to buy more bottled water. This spike in demand has stretched production capacities, leading to occasional shortages. Manufacturers are struggling to keep up, particularly with the many supply chain disruptions that have worsened since the pandemic. In addition, the plastic used to package bottled water is experiencing increased costs and shortages. The global supply chain issues affecting raw materials like plastic have hit the beverage industry hard, making it even more difficult to keep up with rising demand. As September progresses, you may notice fewer bottled water options on store shelves or rising prices as producers try to meet the growing demand. While it may not disappear entirely, bottled water could become harder to find or more expensive, especially in areas that face water shortages or quality concerns. This might be a good time to consider alternatives, such as investing in water filtration systems to mitigate the impact of this looming shortage. Now, let's move to the conclusion. As we've seen, from cooking oils to bottled water, some of the most essential items we rely on every day are facing serious shortages this September. The reasons behind these disappearances vary, whether it's climate change affecting crops, rising demand for renewable resources, or supply chain disruptions. But the impact is clear. These staples may become harder to find, and prices could rise as supplies dwindle. To stay ahead of these shortages, consider stocking up on the items we've covered or exploring alternatives where possible. Staying informed and prepared will help you navigate the challenges in the months ahead. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more updates on food trends and market insights. Hit the bell icon so you'll never miss an important update. Stay prepared, and we'll see you in the next video.